Welcome to my channel Buzz. Fame, money, and a tragic fall from grace. The nation was shocked when Austin Chumlee, Russell, the endearing and eccentric star of History Channel's popular show Pawn Stars, fell to the ground in a Las Vegas courtroom. The reality TV star's legs lost way under him, his face went pale, and he passed out as the judge's gavel reverberated through the quiet room, leaving onlookers in shock and court officials running to his side. This was not another scandal involving a famous person. This was the dramatic culmination of a court case that threatened to topple everything the adored pawnshop character had worked so hard to achieve. However, what actually took place behind the scenes? What sinister secrets about the guy that millions of people welcomed into their home rooms every week did fame come to light? And how did an untrained pawnshop worker end up being one of the most well-known faces on reality TV, only to lose everything in a single moment of judgment? Today we're delving deeply into the startling ascent, tragic decline, and surprising redemption of one of television's most mysterious figures. Chumlee was just Austin Lee Russell before he rose to fame. Born in Henderson, Nevada on September 8, 1982. When he began working at the gold and silver pawn shop at the age of 21, his path to fame started simply enough. He didn't get there because of his celebrity or wealth. It was camaraderie. He had first learned about the family company from his childhood friend, Corey Harrison. When Pawn Stars debuted on the History Channel in 2009, none of them could have imagined that this straightforward job would propel them both into the national spotlight. The idea behind the show was simple. Record the day-to-day activities of the Harrison family's Las Vegas pawn store, highlighting unique people behind the counter, intriguing products, and negotiating strategies. Although Rick Harrison and his son Corey were the show's official stars, Chumlee won over the audience's hearts right away. His easygoing demeanor, naive inquiry, and surprise epiphanies about subjects that piqued his attention drew in viewers. Chumlee was a welcome change from the polished personas who usually dominated reality TV. He wasn't afraid to make blunders on camera or ask questions that others might find obvious. Viewers across America responded favorably to this sincere approach to television. Chumlee's personal brand flourished along with the show's popularity. He started branching out from the pawn shop by introducing merchandise lines with unique goods and t-shirts with his image and slogans. Chumlee was on a high as his once menial work turned into a wealthy career. But beneath the surface of his newfound stardom, Chumlee battled the demands of being well known. He found the shift difficult, as did many people thrown into the spotlight. The public's relentless scrutiny had a negative impact. He struggled with his weight. This struggle was shown on national television and served as the basis for hateful remarks made online. As the seasons changed, the gap between his public persona and his private life widened. Chumlee was no longer merely an individual. He was a television network's asset, a persona, and a brand. This discrepancy between one's private life and public persona led to a situation that would eventually explode. When Chumlee's Las Vegas residence was raided by officials in 2016, it was the tipping point, when police found a variety of controlled substances, including methamphetamine, marijuana, and anxiety medication, along with some illegal firearms and cash. What started out as an investigation into a sexual assault allegation took an unexpected turn. The disturbing image of Chumlee's personal life that the raid revealed contrasted sharply with the amiable, innocent persona that fans had grown to adore. The accusations were grave. Several drug and weapon-related felony charges that might jeopardize not only his career, but also his freedom. When word got out about Chumlee's legal issues, the media went into a furious and unrelenting frenzy. While tabloids probed every facet of his private life, headlines questioned the future of Pawn Stars. The stakes could not have been higher for Chumlee. A conviction on all counts might have resulted in years in prison, thereby ruining his career in television and forever harming his reputation. He was under increasing strain, since he might lose everything he had fought for since joining the house show in addition to facing legal repercussions. The emotional burden was unbearable, and as the case moved closer to trial, Chumlee was caught in the middle of a legal whirlpool that felt like it might swallow him whole. The most dramatic part of Chumlee's story took place in the courtroom. As the prosecution presented the raid's findings, which painted a picture of a famous person leading a risky double life. The defense tried to draw attention to Chumlee's contributions to the community and his clean record. They said that the drugs were intended for individual use rather than distribution, and that the guns were a part of a collection. Despite these efforts, the evidence was substantial. The prosecution argued that because of their influence, public personalities should be held to a higher standard and urged for a harsher punishment. As both sides made their arguments in the courtroom before the moment that would decide Chumlee's fate, the tension was evident. The courthouse was crowded with members of the media, supporters, and interested bystanders on the day of sentencing. Despite being clearly shaken, Chumlee remained composed as he waited for the ruling that would determine his destiny. The judge's decision was rendered. 3 years of probation, mandatory counseling, frequent drug testing, and 200 hours of community service. Any violation would result in immediate imprisonment. The severity of the situation overcame Chumlee when the sentence was announced. According to witnesses, his face turned pale, his body trembled, and suddenly he fell to the ground in a scene that would be shown on entertainment news. As the crowd erupted in astonished whispers, court officials hurried to his aid. This bodily breakdown appeared to represent the psychological toll that the whole incident had placed on him. Following his punishment, Chumlee had to make a crucial decision. Either let his legal issues to define him or utilize them as a springboard for improvement. He decided on the latter, which may have come as a surprise to many who had watched the dramatic coverage of his case. He accepted full responsibility for his acts as the first step in his quest of personal transformation. In public remarks, he apologized for disappointing his family and fans, and admitted that his stardom had driven him to make bad decisions. His story of redemption was built upon this accountability. Chumlee dedicated not merely to fulfilling the terms of his probation, but to making fundamental adjustments in his life. Chumlee's emphasis on health was one of the most obvious features of his metamorphosis. He had gastric bypass surgery after receiving long-term criticism for his weight, and made a commitment to leading a healthy lifestyle. The outcomes were striking. His remarkable 160-pound weight loss demonstrated the improvements he was making on the inside. He also put his energy into starting new businesses, most notably Chumlee's Confectionery on the Boulevard, a confectionery shop in Las Vegas that sells novelty and vintage confections. He was able to establish a solid relationship with fans in this new direction, while creating something distinct from his persona on Pawn Stars. Chumlee eventually made a comeback to Pawn Stars, which may have surprised industry insiders who had foreseen the end of his television career. The Harrison family and the producers supported him during his legal issues because they understood how important he was to the program and his sincere desire to change. His comeback wasn't without difficulties. Although he had to win back the trust of both co-workers and viewers, many found his sincerity and admission of his previous errors endearing. Instead of making meaningless excuses or denials, supporters were glad to see someone accept accountability and make genuine improvements. Today, Chumlee continues to be a beloved figure on Pawn Stars, working alongside Rick and Corey Harrison at the Gold and Silver Pawn Shop in Las Vegas. His tale has changed from serving as a warning about the perils of celebrity to becoming a motivational tale of fortitude and redemption. He doesn't avoid his background, but he also doesn't let his darkest moments define him. Rather, he has made use of his background to establish a more genuine connection with followers who might be going through similar difficulties. His experience serves as a reminder that public personalities are fallible human beings who are prone to the same temptations and errors as everyone else. However, it also shows that second chances are achievable with sincere regret, accountability, and a dedication to change. The tale of Chumlee's ascent, decline, and redemption provides insightful insights into the nature of celebrity and individual development. Being famous does not protect someone from repercussions. It intensifies them, if anything. However, the story need not finish there either. Real transformation occurs when the spotlight is allowed to shine on the process of change, rather than when people try to avoid it during trying times. Chumlee's desire to let the public witness his journey, complete with setbacks and achievements, has made his redemption all the more profound. Perhaps the most amazing aspect of Chumlee's story is how he was able to take back control of his narrative. Rather than letting himself to be defined by headlines or mugshot, he's created a fresh chapter focused on progress and positivism. This change took time to occur, years of constant work, daily attendance, and demonstrating his commitment to a different course with deeds, rather than just words were required. His experience demonstrates the strength of fortitude and the ability of people to adapt, even when that adaptation must take place in the harsh light of public scrutiny. As we reflect on Chumlee's experience, we're reminded that our darkest moments, our biggest mistakes, and our most public failures don't have to be the end of our stories. They may be difficult but significant turning points that result in real development. Chumlee's return provides an alternative viewpoint that atonement is achievable with sincere regret, persistent persistence, and a readiness to put in the effort of personal transformation in a society that is quick to dismiss and reluctant to forgive. It wasn't a simple or uncomplicated road from courtroom collapse to newfound purpose, but it shows that it is possible to rise again, even after a highly public fall, possibly more powerful and genuine than previously. Whether we will encounter difficulties or make mistakes is not the question for any of us. It's the way we decide to react when we do. That decision could lead to our own redemption tales. Chumlee is live evidence that one incident, even one that physically drags you to your knees in court, need not define your entire life as he builds his life and profession after the scandal. The true power is in the decisions you make when you get back up and what you do next. That is Chumlee's journey's most important lesson. Not only do we fall, but we can always find a way to get back up after a setback, even in front of millions of people if we have the guts, responsibility, and tenacity